Welcome to the Seth Joyner Show, presented by Bet Park. Your Philadelphia Eagles just keep rolling, baby. They just keep rolling. 7-1. Got our hated rivals up coming into the link on Sunday. Um, this is somewhat of a talk to 'em Tuesday. I'm gonna be taking some of your questions. Um, got ex-Eagle great Hollis Tank Thomas coming on with me the second 30 minutes of the show. And of course, we got our breakdown tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about defensing bunch formations, which the Eagles struggle with a little bit versus the Commanders, as well as defending 3-by-1 formation, specifically focusing on how teams are attacking the middle of the field with the linebacker, Kobe Dean, having to play the middle of the field at number 3 receiver. Um, excuse me. The Eagles are just week after week finding a way to win the game. And you know what? To me, in a lot of ways, um, isn't that really what the National Football League is all about? Isn't that what great quarterback play is all about? Sometimes the numbers look good, sometimes the numbers don't look good. But at the end of the day, your endeavor when you strike out on Sunday afternoon is to walk away with the win, walk away with the victory by any means necessary. There's no other team in the National Football League that's been able to do it this year better than your Philadelphia Eagles. The Kansas City Chiefs fall again to the Cincinnati Bengals last week. That's 2 losses for them. Um, the San Francisco 49ers are somewhat in the tailspin here. Um, they've lost 3 games in a row after starting off 5-0. Um, Everyone wants to know why. This is my theory why. If you go and you look at Christian McCaffrey's rushing numbers over the last 3 weeks, they're very telling. Now, a lot of pressure's been on Brock Purdy. That pressure is always relieved, in my opinion, when they're running the ball well, when Christian McCaffrey is hitting on all cylinders, because when they go play action pass off of him running the football, then all their routes are timed up and he can throw with anticipation. That has not been there for him the last 3 weeks. And it seems to me that all of this hype about Brock Purdy, um, he has been more of a systems quarterback than everyone wants to make Jalen Hurts out to be a system quarterback. Last week Jalen sat in the pocket and played because he had to, because of his knee. I believe, and I don't want to see our quarterback hurt, but I think I may relish this point in time of him being stuck in the pocket and having to operate from the pocket, because I believe that in the end that he's going to be a better quarterback having to learn how to play from the pocket, live from the pocket, rather than always relying on his legs to get it done. Um, I thought he played one of his best games last week. His numbers completely bear it out. Absolutely phenomenal. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and you look at the numbers, um, Jalen Hurts, uh, 29 for 38, 319 yards, and 4 touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns. Absolutely phenomenal. Um, of course, A.J. Brown set the record for the most consecutive with 6 125 plus yard games. And of course, the Slim Reaper made an appearance, as he always does, down in Washington with 7 receptions for 99 yards and a touchdown. That's 15 completions between our 2 number one wide receivers. Um, AJ Brown was targeted 8 times. He caught all 8 of those balls. Devontae Smith was targeted 7 times, caught all 7 of those balls. Between the 2 of them, that is 229 yards on 15 receptions and 3 touchdowns between the 2. Um, awesome. Just an absolute awesome, body of work by those 2 guys, and, of course, we got our Dallas Cowboys coming in this week. They won the last 2 games. They beat the Chargers and they beat the Rams in back-to-back. Dak is kinda looking like the old Dak a little bit. Um, he's running the ball a little more. They've got a couple more call plays for him to run, but he's also utilizing his legs when things break down. I think the ankle injury kinda had him a little iffy about doing that. But now that he's doing that a little more, I think their offense is a little more dynamic. That's gonna pose some problems, with defense this coming week. After shutting down the most prolific offense and potentially NFL history in the Miami Dolphins, the Eagles roll into Washington and just look average at best. Um, After holding, the number 1 ranked offense almost across the board, 244 yards, turn around and you go to Washington and you let Sam Howell throw for almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns on. Um, I don't know what to make, you know, of how this team plays, but I tell you one thing, they do a pretty damn good job of ham and egg situation. You know, the offense will play great one week, the defense will play great the next week. I will say the special teams have been a pleasant surprise for this football team this year after being an Achilles heel for much of last year. But as I continue to observe this team and stand pat and stand fast on my opinion that football is such an imperfect game, and we're seeing this from this team. In this imperfect, uh, you know, neighborhood that we call the NFL, no one's done it better. No one's navigated this time frame better than the Philadelphia Eagles. It really should be 8-0 right now. But, you know, my grandma used to always say, "There's a reason for everything, son." So maybe that reason for them dropping that game is a wake-up call because as they go into the meat of their schedule right now, they're gonna need their best. My biggest concern about the Philadelphia Eagles offense right now is the turnover rate. They're averaging 2 to 2.5 turnovers a game. Cowboys kind of thrive off of, turnovers. Their cornerback chances, they take risks to jump routes, they play a lot of hero ball, always trying to figure out a way, to either turn the ball over, punch the ball out, put their offense on a short field. Their cornerbacks and DBs are going balls, they're trying to jump pick six. The Eagles are gonna have to rectify, their turnover situation, like, right now. You cannot go into this game against the Cowboys and that defense and think that you can turn the ball over 2, 3 times in this game, believe that you're gonna come out, winning the game. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not professing any greatness by the Dallas Cowboys. I just firmly believe that, if you can shut down their running attack, make Dak have to throw the ball 40 plus times, he's gonna throw you some. And if you can get a lead, that's even that much better. Um, but these are, 2 of the best football teams in not only in the National Football Conference, but in the National Football League. So this is gonna be epic, and I'm waiting with bated breath. I've been waiting for this game ever since the schedule came out to see exactly, how we stack up against them, how they stack up against us. And we already know that we're gonna win the division, but we gotta also go out and prove that as well, alright? So, this is the Seth Joyner Show, the podcast, brought to you by, Bet Parks. Of course, I got multiple sponsors, you'll see those. I invite you guys to hit that like button, please share it. Most important, um go to the Seth Joyner Show YouTube page. Please subscribe. There you'll not only find this podcast, which you'll find the Seth Joyner Show TV show. We air there every single week for those who are to miss it on Wednesday nights on PHL 17, on Thursday nights, and repeat airings on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Okay, so let's jump into some questions here. I can talk. I know you guys get tired of hearing me talk sometimes. I love to, engage you guys and get your questions and see what you like, what you want to talk about, and what the hot topics are with you guys. So the first question comes from the Latin Inferno. Um, so one second. Okay. So how is it the Eagles play so well versus the Dolphins on defense and totally collapse versus the Commanders? Great question. Um, I don't know. I couldn't tell you with certainty. I kind of felt like, they had turned the corner and defensively and was moving in the most positive directions because I think it was back-to-back weeks that they played extremely well. Got the pressure, shut down the running game. They're the number one defense in the National Football League against the run, only surrendering 65.5 yards per game, moving in a very good direction as far as their pass defense was concerned. They had moved that number all the way from, somewhere in the 300 plus yards per game scenario into, right around 230 yards per game, which is a hell of a lot better. And all of a sudden, you have this explosion where Sam Howell just goes berserk. I think a lot of it has to do with um, what the game plan was and how that game. The DBs were a lot more aggressive against the Miami Dolphins. They got up in the deep in the wide receivers' faces, which allowed them, to get pressure on Tua and force some bad throws and make him make some quick decisions. It's pretty evident as far as, the Commanders were concerned. Coming off their game against the Giants the previous week, they gave up 6 sacks to the New York Giants the week before. So you had to understand that their game plan, Eric Bieniemy's game plan, was going to be for Sam Howell to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as he could. Now, it didn't matter whether they were in man or whether they were in zone. That was the game plan. So I'm just not so sure why it was that that was their game plan. What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Because even in their zone concepts, I described what a zone match was a couple of weeks ago on the whiteboard. You can't just drop the landmarks. So if you're like 3 deep and you got 4 underneath, and you got 2 guys that drop to the hooks and 2 guys that drop to the flats, you can't just drop out there and turn and just get your eyes focused on the quarterback. You got to know what these routes are. And you got to know what they're trying to do. When you get a guy to cross your face, he's crossing your face for a reason. If you get a guy you can feel him working behind you, you know that he's working behind you for a reason. So the Eagles either have to implement, Latin Inferno. They either need to implement either more man coverage, more zone match, or they need to do a better job of pattern reading. Okay, I always knew that when I dropped into a zone, if I had a guy that crossed my face, that was the bait. They were trying to get me to take the bait. So if I bite up on that one, then that meant that the route coming behind me would be wide open. So now I got to communicate with that other guy on the other side. Hey, crosser, crosser, crosser. Whether that's another linebacker or a defensive back in a dime situation, we got this communication going on where, I'm saying, yeah, he's crossing and I'm not biting on him, but I'm alerting my guy over here that I got something coming. And sometimes, he may give me a crosser. If I get the double crosser, then I know for sure I got the deep dig coming behind me. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to get this guy to bite on that one, trying to get me to bite on that one so they can hit the dig right behind. That's coaching. That is 100% coaching. That's film study. That's understanding your game plan and understanding how teams are trying to attack you before you even go into the game. All right. So to answer your question, I don't know. I just gave you some scenarios how they could potentially fix it. All right. Next question. Xavier wants to know, is Bradford starting to get beat because of the scheme, being out of position, or something else? Um, the first touchdown looked like he guessed on Terry McLaurin. I think he thought that Terry was going to run a stutter route, and it looks like to me he and Blankenship had Terry bracketed, meaning that Blankenship was going to be on the inside, he was going to be on the outside. He thought that Terry was going to run a stutter. He did a little stutter route, and he probably thought he was going to sit it down for the first down. I think it was third down. And what Terry did is he just split both of them, because you could tell by where Reed Blankenship was, he was out of position. I'm not so sure that I like the bracket coverage, you know, even in situations where, it's third down and you're trying to keep him from making the first down. Because the good wide receivers, Tyreek Hill did it to us last week. He read bracket coverage, bam, just split the coverage and scored a touchdown. I would much rather see James Bradbury get up with inside technique, jam the guy's inside shoulder, make the guy have an outside release. Now you're on his inside hip, a yard inside and a yard behind him with safety help over the top. Now, the only route he's got is an outside route, and the sideline is your 12th man. There's nothing wrong with that, but the way that they play their coverages sometimes, and as passive as they are, I will continue to say it, I will continue to preach it. If you're going to get up in press coverage, it makes no sense to get up in press coverage and then just open the door and let the guy run by you. If you're going to get up in press, at least get your hands on the guy. At least force him to go where you want him to go. The problem is when you open up the gate, you allow him now to pick and choose what type of release he wants to have. I would much rather see our cornerbacks be more aggressive at the line of scrimmage. Make that guy release where you want him to. Because if you make him release where you want him to, you got a much better chance at covering him than you do if you just open the gate or you get head to head on him and you give him a two-way go. I don't know. A lot of people feel like, he's losing a step a little bit and Slay may be losing a step a little bit. I'm one of the people that believe that an aggressive mindset always sets you up for aggressive play. A passive mindset always sets you up for passive play. So when you're always harping about don't give up the big one, don't give up the big one, don't give up the big one, we're going to bend but don't break, but we don't want to give up explosive plays. When that's your mindset and that's the thing that's constantly on your mind, what do you wind up doing? You wind up doing that thing. You wind up doing the thing that you think the most about. Where if my mindset is be aggressive and I'm not giving you anything deep, short, intermediate, no matter what it is, now my mindset is different. I attack you from a different perspective. And I'm going to allow my technique and my fundamentals to allow me to do that. All right. That's just my perspective. Shelton Davis wants to know, what defense should we implement to try to stop the wide receiver trio bunch formation? It's been giving us tons of problems. Man, you all up in my brain today. That's on my whiteboard breakup today, Sheldon. You'll see that coming up in about 5 minutes or so, all right? Ronnie Blaze wants to know, what's my thoughts on the offensive play calling? Is it sustainable going into the playoffs and beyond? Listen, it's hard to argue with 7-1, okay? So those people, and I've been going back and forth with people on Twitter and social media all week about, my stance on the run game. I still believe that the run game needs to be an integral part of your offense and how you run your offense. That being said, the Eagles ran 3 running plays to running backs last week in the first half, but they won the game. Jalen Hurts threw for 320, almost 320 yards. A.J. Brown had another, 130-something yard game with 2 touchdowns. And, Devontae Smith got on the board with 99 yards and a touchdown. How do you argue with that? But from my perspective, this is what you're looking at. Everyone thought I was crazy last year when, I rang the bell and said, hey, our defense isn't aggressive enough. We need to blitz. We need to bring some pressure. We need to pick some situations where we speed up the quarterback's clock and we bring added pressure. Oh, but we're breaking the record and 70 sacks. And I'm like, there's going to come a game. There's going to come a point in time in this season where the lack of ability to bring pressure when you need to bring it is going to become a problem because you're going to face a team that's going to have an answer for your pass rush. I'd be damned if it wasn't the Super Bowl, the most important game. Why? Because the field was like crap. And Jonathan Gannon's mindset was not to blitz. In the second half, the Chiefs established the running game, and then we had no answer for Patrick Mahomes. Just went off with 3 touchdown passes in the second half. Cost us the Super Bowl because we couldn't adjust when we needed to adjust. This is my issue with the Eagles not implementing the run game, okay? You fall in love with the pass game. You did it against the Jets, and that's a game that you could have and should have won if you had just run the football. Even on that 3rd and 9 where Jalen Hurts throws the interception, if you just run the damn football and punt it, and let the defense force Zach Wilson to beat you, then you got a chance to continue to be undefeated, okay? They fell in love with the passing game. And my problem with Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni's mentality is that there's going to come a point in time in this season, okay, where you're going to face an opponent who's going to have an answer for your passing game. And your running game is not something that you can turn on and turn off. It's something that needs to be an integral part of your offense, and you need to be working it and implementing it every single game. Not at the end of the game when you have a lead and you're trying to run your 4-minute offense. It needs to be a part of establishing, your offense in the first half of games. And the Eagles, they just ignore it. Now they're getting away with it now. But mark this day, Halloween night, 2023. I'm telling you right now, there's going to come a crucial game, a crucial time, whether it's down the stretch of the season, in the postseason, or the Super Bowl if we're fortunate enough to get back again, where the Eagles are going to need to run the football, okay? And if they haven't respected that aspect of the game enough, they're going to roll into that game not ready to get it done, and they're not going to be able to get it done, and it's going to cost them, okay? Run your offense. I don't coach anybody's team. I'm here as an analyst. I'm here to share with you guys what 13 years in the National Football League taught me, how I see the game. People want to talk about how much the game has changed. Listen, it's football. No matter how much the game changed, it always stays the same. You got to hit, you got to run, you got to tackle, you got to catch the ball, you got to stop the run, you got to run the football, okay? Don't tell me how much the game has changed. Football is football, okay? You can come out and throw it 40 times if you want to. The majority of the quarterbacks that put the ball in the air 40 plus times every single week, go statistically and look at it. They turn it over 2 to 3 more times than the quarterbacks who have a balanced offense that are running the ball 30 times and throwing the ball 30 times and then having play action as a part of their protection scheme. That's just my opinion. But, what do I know? Carry on. Next question. Angel Cologne wants to know, do I believe the Eagles win this game and why? First of all, I think the Eagles play up or down to their opponent. It's pretty evident. They played down to the Jets and it cost them. They played down to the Commanders twice and they got away with it twice. But then they get the Miami Dolphins, which common sense would tell you they don't have a chance at winning that game. And all of a sudden, they played a defensive game of their freaking lives. It was unbelievable. So I fully expect for the Eagles to be overly engaged with their most hated rivals. Listen, I haven't played a down of football in 20 plus years. I still hate the damn Cowboys, okay? So even if I thought in my heart of hearts that the Eagles couldn't win this game, you'd never hear it come out of my mouth. You never hear it. That's the hatred that I have for this team and this organization, okay? But I certainly believe that the Eagles are the better football team. And they're going to have to play a lot better than they played the last, removing the Miami game from the equation. You don't have to play better than they played the last, 3 or 4 weeks. But I know that they're capable of it. And I know that they can win games when it looks as though that they can't win them because they don't look as good as they've looked. They will get up for the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, they understand how important this game is, and the fact that they're 7-1, Dallas is 5-2, and that to fall into a tie and give up the tiebreaker in a loss to this team right now is detrimental, to where they want to go and what they want to do. Their offense is explosive. They're in the top 3 to 5 in every single offensive statistical category. And Dallas has a way of, making the mistakes when you need him to make the mistakes. Dak just doesn't. He plays well when everything is rolling good. And last week, his defense was rolling good. They gave him a pick 6 and, they gave him, a couple of fumbles. And, when the table's set, he shines. But our guy, he shines when the adversity is the thickest, when the adversity is the greatest. And that's a difference maker. That's a change. And just the fact that they're playing against their most hated rival, I expect for them to stand up and stand tall. Okay, so our questions aren't done. I'll get back to some of those with you guys in a little bit. But what I want to do is I want to take a break, come back out of the break. We'll get to our whiteboard 101. And by then, that dude, Hollis Tank Thomas, should be ready to roll. It's going to be interesting because it's Dallas week and you know how he feels about Dallas. See you in a sec.
When you open the BetParks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the confidence and underdogs covering, the tension before a clutch turnover, and the pride of a parlay paying off. It's another chance to win big with all-day action. Plus, win your first $10 bet and get $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. BetParks.
If you understand that success is built on trusted relationships and dependable performance, Mid-Penn Bank is the right bank for you. We're on a mission to prove that the right bankers can make a big difference. We work harder, we get things done, and we're in your corner. With financial centers strategically located throughout the greater Philadelphia region and new locations in central New Jersey, we're ready to bring you the best in commercial and personal banking. Call or visit us today to connect with a professional Mid-Penn banker. Member FDIC. Go Eagles!
Welcome to Bridgeview Partners, where IT and business innovation merge. We're not just another tech company. We're your strategic partner in navigating the ever-evolving digital landscape. Our team of experts tailors cutting-edge solutions to fit your unique needs, and ensuring your success is our top priority. Elevate your business with Bridgeview Partners. Discover the power of partnership and tech innovation today. Contact us now to experience the difference. Bridgeview Partners, where innovation meets excellence.
Welcome back to the Seth Joyner Show presented by BetParks. This first breakdown is from my man Sheldon. He's watching via YouTube. He asked me to break down defensing the bunch formation. So let's start off with a bunch right. Okay. And for clarity's sake, let's just we'll leave most of the defense off today. So understand what teams are normally trying to do for spacing purposes. You're always going to get one route out, you're going to get one route in, and you're going to get one route to set down like that. Okay. So now the spacing is proper. Okay. So the big question is, how are they trying to get there defensively? And what is it, that causes the Eagles so many headaches and so many problems? In my opinion, the biggest issue is, so sometimes they'll drop a safety down. You got your slot corner. Let me do that again. The safety will be here. You got your slot corner in bump, and then you got your cornerback off. Okay. So in my opinion, this is inverted of how you really actually want to play it, okay? Because you're going to get this guy more times than not to get rid of the guy in the middle. He's going to run a vertical route. So this vertical route puts him in that position, but it blocks this corner, okay? So a lot of times when they give this inverted look, now you'll get this guy to push up and cross, and this guy will go here. So now he's trying to get over top, and you're in a chase mode. Okay. So understanding clearly how they're trying to defense this, in my opinion, I would play it this way. Slot corner off, he's off. So now what do I create? I create an umbrella, okay? So if I get one to the flat, that's his. If I get one guy inside, that's his. If I get this guy to set down, that's his. So I'm allowing the route to express itself, and then I could pick guys up, okay? Now, these teams are going to figure out a way to create these key breakers and that's what you see when you see this guy push up and him go there and him come underneath, okay? I understand that. But 9 times out of 10, these routes are expressed in the way that I talked about, okay? He's going to go here. He's going to cross. He's going to sit down. You're always going to get – they have to do that. 9 times out of 10, they have to do that for spacing. So you get a guy out here, a guy in the middle, and a guy on the inside, okay? But when you get up and you posture yourself, in this manner, and this guy is up on the ball, what you're saying is this guy is pretty much locked, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out how to combo these two guys. And smart defensive coordinators understand this. Our offensive coordinators understand this, okay? So a lot of times they'll take him across, okay, push him up right there, and then send him on the double. So he's got to jump that. This guy is outside. He's got to jump there. So now you see the problem. I just prefer, like I said, to just kind of three-way it, okay? This guy's off, slot corner's off. He can even be up. He can be up. Let the route express itself, okay? If he wants to go inside, that's his guy. He wants to go outside, that's his guy. He wants to set it down, that's his guy, okay? And you still got a safety over the top, okay? So there's always a remedy and there's always a way. But what I see the Eagles doing too much is trying to take away the guy that's on the line because he's on the line. And because teams realize that that's what they're doing, they're playing games with these guys on the outside. So they're not necessarily, going one in, one out, and one sitting down, but they're taking advantage of how they can get picks and rubs, by alignment, where if they take this slot corner off the ball and just umbrella covers the whole thing, I think that they do a much better job, of covering this bunch look, okay? Before we get out of here, I want to explain to you guys what's been going on with, the 3-by-1 look. So here's your quarterback, your running back, your X receiver. This is the one side. Here's your 3 receiver side. And sometimes that might even be a tight end. Okay. So you got your 3 wide receivers. You got one on the line. Okay. One inside and one out wide. Now, in zone coverages, they realize that they're dealing with a linebacker here. And normally, if the tight end's not lined up out wide on the wide side, then he's normally lined up right here. Okay. But what teams are starting to do is they're starting to take the tight end and they're starting to line him up in the number 2 position. You remember I told you guys last week, you always count from outside in. This is number 1, this is number 2, and this is number 3. The defense knows that this linebacker is responsible for number 3, okay? So you got your cornerback here, you got your slot corner here, okay, and your safety here. And what teams have been doing, what the Eagles like to do, is they like to take this guy over the top, send him to the flat, drop him down inside. So now we automatically got this matchup with the inside backer on a wide receiver because they flip him. They want this matchup. So now you got Nakobe Dean, or you got Nicholas Morrow, or you got Zach Cunningham trying to cover a wide receiver in this 3-man zone set. And what they do is they sit back and they wait for this guy, okay? my play would always be to take my shot right here because I want this guy. I don't want this guy going underneath where I got to run and chase him. Okay. What I want to do is I want to jam him and I want to make him work over the top because if I make him work over the top, now I can roll with him. And every pass has to be over the top, which now allows this safety who's going back, to a third or to a hole, or maybe this safety here to be able to help and make a play. Okay. But the games that they're playing at this position, especially with this linebacker, okay, is they're figuring out ways to run this guy off, and get this guy isolated on this linebacker right here. Because the linebacker kind of gets horizontal to, where to the receiver. The receiver stems him in and goes inside. He's dead. Okay. The receiver stems him here and goes here, goes over the top right now. That's an automatic. Okay. I am a guy who is more apt to be aggressive at the point of attack than to be a guy who sits back. Okay. Like if I'm a linebacker on the backside here and I got this running back, okay, I'm not going to go this way. I'm not going to go this way so that when this running back comes out of the backfield, he can go in or out. Okay. What I'm going to do is I want to eat up the space. Okay. The minute that he steps, I'm coming inside out on his inside shoulder. I'm going to take my jam. When he releases outside, because that's where I want him to go, now all I have to do is roll with him. Okay. The biggest fear for most defensive coordinators is this route right here. Most running backs don't run that route. Okay. Because if I'm in good position, underneath and inside a yard, if he breaks here, I'm in the passing lane. If he breaks here, I'm in the passing lane. If he shakes and runs a seam route, I'm in the window. I can shut the window. The window that I'm talking about is this window in the passing game. I can shut that window down. The hard one is the corner route, but most running backs don't run it. Okay? But you cannot, in my opinion, sit back and wait for this guy to come out. The minute he steps to release, I'm coming inside out. I'm going to eat up the space. I'm going to jam him right here, inside shoulder, and force the outside release. All right? Hey, you guys keep the requests coming. Each week, I'm going to break down something different. Love doing this. Love, answering your questions about what's going on. He's here. There he is.
What's happening, man?
My man Tank. What's
How you
happening,
doing?
brother?
Hold on one second. Alexa, turn off the music. What's up? How you feeling?
Only Hollis. Hey, man, it's Dallas week.
Damn, Skippy.
All right, so come on, man. Turn it up a little bit.
Yes.
I've been told I need to up the energy, man. So, I want to have you on here because I know you're going to bring the energy. It's Dallas week, baby.
Well, yeah, it's nothing like kicking a cowgirl's ass. You was here for long enough to know that they talk enough trash. Like Dak has already said, what he say? Rub them down in honey or something. If we bears eat salmon, yeah, exactly. Your look said it all. I just want us to go out here and whoop sweater knots on these suckers.
What is going on? Why is Michael Parsons bumping his gum so much lately, man?
IDK, dude. I think he wanted to play for the Eagles. But the other part, too, about him bumping his gun, somebody put up a thing where they talk about CeeDee Lamb is just as good as A.J. Brown. And I was like, stop it. Like, stop it. Stop. But you know that it's Cowboys week. I was gonna wear my T-shirt. I didn't want to wear my T-shirt this early in the week. It says Romoing. It's a picture of Romo crying after the Seattle game when he botched up the kick. It's called Romoing. Did you see? This was funny. Romo said something about Deion Sanders in one of the broadcasts about not tackling, and somebody showed Deion the clip. And Deion just kind of went off on Romo. He's like, I tried to be nice. I would like to take the high road, but I don't know the address to the high road. And so he said, you were the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys for 10 years, and you got 2 playoff wins. Your last season, you threw 19 picks and not a single one to me. And now the one thing I do know about Cowboys week is you don't want to blow your load too early. It's a whole week of debauchery. A whole week. It's going to be some Dallas Cowboy made up cards that people are going to destroy. It's going to be a lot of I call it fandemonia, is because and I figured out why the hate is so deep. You know why the hate is so deep? It's because people that grew up here in our great city of Philadelphia. How the hell do you become a Cowboys fan? You were a bandwagon jumper, and it was an 8-year-old kid that tried to get an autograph from me. He had on the Ezekiel Elliott jersey, and I
Mm.
said no. And somebody's like, "It's a kid." I was like, "Well, he learned a valuable lesson today. Don't come to an Eagles function with cowgirl stuff on."
Well, listen, man. I tell you what. I'm gonna open up, the questions over here.
Okay,
You guys start filing some questions in for Tank. We're gonna talk a little bit of football, but I know there's a ton of questions that these guys, that's watching the show right now have for you as well.
I was
But let's
watching
talk
you.
about
I
let's
was
let's talk
uh,
about the offensive side first. No, let's
okay.
start with the defense.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say because I was just watching what you were doing. It's like I would run square in that situation, the bunch situation.
Hmm.
And it's just like the umbrella, but it kind of confuses the defense. It's a defense called square where you, just like you said, you take the guy that comes to you. I was like, because
Right.
guy, they don't be expecting that, and then the next thing that I know as a defender, I know the next thing they're come back with is a bunch of bells and whistles to get to the same thing. Bells and whistles meaning emotion and stuff, but they still gonna be pretty much running the same play. And I think we've been getting torched with that, and the main reason we've been getting torched with it is because we haven't nipped it in the bud. That killed us in the Super Bowl. You remember that crap, the
Hmm.
motion and stuff, from a bunch formation and the motion, and people are still running that against us sometimes, but they're also running against other teams, and the other teams are not combating it either. So
Well, Tank, I think that I look at the game from a different perspective too. I believe that you have to have multiple ways of defense in certain things.
mhm,
I just honestly believe that you got to have multiple ways to defend certain things, and you
mhm,
have to mix it up because if it looks the same
mhm,
but you're playing it differently,
differently, yeah,
now the quarterback he can't get a pre-snap read as to what you're doing. The
exactly,
problem with the Eagles, why they have so many problems with so many specific things, is that they play it the same all the time and they
yeah,
don't change. There's no variety in what they do. It's the same exact thing, with the in the Super Bowl with the short motion
yeah,
and bring the guy back out. Okay,
yeah,
fool me once, shame on you.
yeah.
Damn,
They
you ain't
came
gonna fool me twice. You
in the
understand what I'm
same
saying?
and in the same game, and
Well, I
literally
mean, it was
not
three
even
minutes
10 minutes.
later.
Exactly. I
Three
was
minutes
dude.
later. So my thing was, okay, what was the conversation that was going on the sideline after it happened the first time? Because they scored. Jalen Hurts got the ball. He marched down the field and scored back. What conversation was going on the sideline from an adjustment standpoint that had this team prepared, for the next time? Because you want to know something? When they ran it the second time, people
Right.
don't realize this. When they ran it the second time, the Chiefs actually lined up wrong. If
Exactly.
you go back and you look at the film, Patrick Mahomes is lifting his right leg and he's looking right,
Yeah.
but the
The other.
slot receiver is over on the left. Okay?
Yep.
So he's looking, he's like, well, how come the guy ain't coming in motion? So
Yep.
then he turns and he looks to his left. He's like, I'll be damned, we lined up wrong. So he just raised his left leg and they ran it from
Mhm.
the wrong side and still scored.
And
So I'm
the
like,
funny,
where was the adjustment?
you
You
know what?
know,
During adjustment time, I think Jonathan Gannon was over there telling them, I'm about to be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. I grab a couple of you guys, Kazir White and a couple of other you random guys to
jeez.
take you guys with me. I think that's what was going on in that situation. And you're right, because when I was playing under Jim Johnson, we would run a defense called swim. Now out of swim, we had swim bombers, we had swim Mackay, we had swim. We had swim Willi, we had well, we had swim Isaacs, we had swim ISO, but it's like we ran the same, we looked the same all the time, but we ran different things out of it. And the one thing that we when you said it, it resonated to me because we don't disguise anything. Nobody's ever in we haven't. I don't know. People know what we are in before it's time, and I think we need to get it. I think that goes to everybody learning the system and being able to disguise things. The one thing I do like that is that we don't look like that we haven't been practicing blitzing. When we blitz, it actually looks like a blitz. When Jonathan Gannon did, it looked like he just put it in on the sideline with an etch a sketch, and it was god awful. But I won't bring up Jonathan Gannon because that's a moot point, and it's a hair that he sticks. It's a thorn in my ass. Um, but
All right, so
good.
let's talk about the defense, man,
Okay.
because the defense against Miami, they looked like they were turning into a most dominant defense.
Yes.
They've been good against the run all season long,
Hmm.
but last week
Yeah.
against Washington, man, they look clueless.
Yeah. Yeah.
They actually look like they didn't know what they were doing, what to expect, none of that.
And I think that's more so the offensive coordinator in Bieniemy. That's like he does like things do it, and it doesn't matter if you look at take this for instance. We played against the Commanders both times after a loss, and each time after the loss, they've corrected a bunch of mistakes offensively and came back and Hollis had the game of his damn career. And I'm like, dadgummit the mule. So when you look at it, he's I don't know what the enemy is seeing, but we haven't been able to counteract it. And I think I don't know if the side's going to be the one who the more he gets into it, the more he attacks. Because I'm like you, I like to attack. I was like you. If you don't have time to if you don't have the time to survey the land, you can't survey the land, and you can't survey the land on your back looking up at the sky. That's always been my thought. It's like pressure bust pipes. Let's see if you can do the same thing under duress. It's like you're not going to be able to do the same thing, and you just have the one thing that I do think is like we need to hold our guys out on the secondary accountable for tackling more, especially if we're going to blitz. Those guys have to be quality tacklers. And it's like, yeah, as a lot of times we miss tackles and stuff, and we miss things, and it's like, uh, as a defender, I'm used to everybody from Dawkins blitzing to Troy blitzing to Bobby Taylor blitzing to Al Harris blitzing to Willie T blitzing to Jeremiah Trotter. Everybody across the board. We blitzing, but it depends on what the call is. But everybody's going to get a chance to hit the quarterback, and that's what I'm used to. I don't see that with this defense. I don't see the creativity or I see where he's trying to get, but I don't see the architecture of what I like. I like to call it everybody dies. It's like everybody dies. I mean, you don't have a chance to think. When we come in, we're gonna send more than you can block. Get it out your hands now. My secondary does a flat. A flat foot read. You play with Mystic Pick Six himself. You played
Hmm.
with him, and there was a reason why he was called that. It was because you guys up front put the opposing team on notice that we was coming after you, and it's going to be a long day because we coming each
Well,
and every
listen,
play.
I believe that I firmly believe this that Nick Sirianni's um, his mo is to not give up explosive plays while creating explosive plays.
Okay.
You know, it's been well documented and known that hey, Rex Ryan wanted this job,
Did
as
he?
the defense coordinator. But he's not going to hire Rex because Rex is going to run his defense the way he wants to run it. And at the end of the day, he wanted another guy who was going to be a Vic Fangio
Hmm.
disciple.
Okay.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. But now I'm watching the old Vic Fangio disciple down in
Right.
Arizona,
Uh huh.
blitzing like he ain't got no damn sense down there.
Exactly.
So, so now, okay, was it that Jonathan Gannon didn't want to blitz, or was it that he was given the mandate not to blitz? Okay,
I don't
and
know.
maybe we're not seeing so much, outright blitzing and outright pressure in times where we're not getting home because we don't want to give up the explosive plays.
That's
But we
interesting.
have given up explosive plays over the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks, not only to Washington, but to the Miami Dolphins. Even in the game that we dominated, we
Yeah.
still gave up an explosive play.
You know the funny thing about that stuff is that when you said that I didn't really think about it until you said that. Uh, And it's ways to run blitzes, good sound blitzes, where everybody's taken care of. It's like you don't all. It could be. You remember zone traps? They're called zone traps for a reason. It's like you want to confuse the offensive line. If the
Right.
offense, put it this way, I haven't talked to you since I saw the back and forth between one of the offensive linemen from the Kansas City game and Darius Slay.
Right.
Guess what? The guy said he's like Darius Slay was talking about the surface, about the turf being slippery, and the offensive line was like, "Come on, man, seriously, y'all thought y'all was gonna beat us running cover five and man under."
Well, not when the offensive linemen talk like that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Because the one thing that I do know is they shouldn't know anything. We should be giving them headbanger boogie the entire time, and they should know where it's coming from. That's what when you run the zone traps, you got if you playing linebacker and you got a zone trap, you coming like a bat out of hell. I'm dropping it in where you supposed to be at, so just in case they throw the hot route. Occasionally, the big dog had to drop back there and flash himself just to flash color. But fortunately, we were able to get there on sacks. And
Right.
the only
So
play,
let
the only play that I did, it was a one play that I did not desire. And if you go back, it was a play called over mob zone net, over mob zone net. Guess what my responsibility was as the defensive tackle? I changed responsibilities with Brian Dawkins.
wow.
Yes. They say just run back there. All he need to see is color. I was like, come on, man. That's a long way. It's like that's what he wanted me to drop to the. It's like because I went, I just touched this. I just would touch the center and then just drop straight back in the middle. But it was like they put a net over everything, and it was confusing to the offense. And the quarterback didn't know no better, so we got sacks on it every time we ran it.
Okay, so before I'm going to open up at least about 5 minutes, for the viewers to ask you questions. But
Okay.
um, give me your thoughts on Jalen Hurts, his evolution, along with where he is from the standpoint of this knee injury. Because this knee injury is going to force him to stay in the pocket a lot more than he probably wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's talking about, how the run game has slipped. Primarily, a lot of people want to talk about the fact that because Jalen is hurt, that
Mm-hmm.
the run numbers are down. But I always thought that, hey, isn't the running backs supposed to be the one
Bingo.
that runs the football?
Yes.
Um, so even if Jalen's down, even if Cam Jurgens is out and Sue
Mm-hmm.
Opeta is not doing, not playing to that level,
Right.
the one thing that all linemen do is they're pretty darn good run blockers.
Yes.
You got a double team, you got a single
Thing
team, you're gonna
thing.
get your
Yeah.
butt in the hole, you're gonna push your guy,
Ba-da.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I just feel like Jalen's going to be a better quarterback for having to sit in the pocket
Yeah.
more over the next 4 or 5 weeks until he gets 100% healthy again.
And you see that the last few weeks. Have you seen the pass plays he's done? They've been dimes, dude. It's like when you look at the play at pretty much all the plays to AJ Brown that are deep, he's dropping them into a basket. And it's like AJ Brown is finishing it off, but he's putting it where only he can get it. I don't know if it was what is it 2 games ago against the Dolphins where he threw a ball that was deep and it literally just dropped in between two defenders. And you're correct. I think it is forcing him to be a better passer. I was like, but I think he'll run when he needs to. But it's a bone bruise. And the general, as they said, if the general's out there hurting, everybody else should be out there doing their best to make sure that he doesn't have to do it all by himself. And I think this is going to kind of galvanize the team. And if you haven't paid attention, it's really galvanized the team. Him being injured the way he is and doing what he's doing. But the part about the running game, it's like it's nothing better than a guy up front likes to do. I was with Jamal Jackson the other day, former center. And I asked him, "What do you like to do more than anything else?" As far we on the field, run block. It's like
Hmm.
because you put the defender on notice that we gonna run the ball or pass the ball. You don't know. You can't just go screaming upfield with your ears pinned back with no responsibility. And I think that the thing that we have to do as a team, and Brian Johnson has to understand is, it's not that you have to. run the ball all the time, but you need to run it enough times to make the play action believable. To make the play
Mm.
action believable, you have to run it enough to keep them to basically just to keep them off balance. They should like the game against the Jets. I think that was the stupidest game we had. 45 passes. Those guys just pinned their ear back. And at a certain point in the game, you running the ball does not mean anything because you've been at a point in the game where it's close and the guys have been pinning their ears back and they play the run on the way to the pass. So it's like by the time you had the ball off, somebody's blasting in the backfield because they pass rusher move right out doing pass rushers move right off the line. So you can't give them that caveat to be able to just not think and not do. It's like so we have to you have to run the ball. That's the one thing that I was pissed off that he wasn't doing is the mix up of plays and stuff. We were actually up until the Miami game we were throwing the ball 8 more times than we did all in each game last year. 8 more times per game, and every time we throw the ball 40 plus times, we are 0-4 under the Nick Sirianni regime.
Mm.
So that should tell you everything that you need to know about run pass.
Well, Tank, I'll tell you this. The Dallas Cowboys rank 18th against the run, but
Hmm.
they're number 4. They're only giving up 178 yards passing the ball.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
we've seen some games, the San Francisco game, where they just got dominated up front
Yeah.
by the San Francisco offensive line. I feel like the Eagles need to come into this game. I know they're not going to do it because that's not really what they want to do. But I
Hmm.
feel like they need to come into this game and establish the run. It needs to be one of those 7 to 8 possession games
Hmm.
rather than 10 to 12 to 13 possessions. Not that the Eagles can't get with them, in a shootout type scenario.
Hmm.
But I just feel like, in these NFC East games, the teams who can dominate the line of scrimmage the best is going to
Right.
be the team that actually wins the game. All right, man. So I know some people got some questions for you. Let's
Okay.
take 2 or 3 questions
All right.
before we get up out of here. All right.
Okay. Cool. I got you covered.
All right. So Rocky wants to know how we feel about our cornerback situation.
A little shaky right now. A little shaky right now. It's like you look at the corner. I like the way Eli Ricks and some of the other younger corners are stepping up, but our quarter horses they're ailing and they're limping right now. They're not. They it looks like some people say they look like they lost a step, and I would tend to agree with them just because they haven't shown us anything this year. Yeah, big play Slay got a pick when he needed to. I was like, but Bradbury's been a bit of a liability. He's been giving up the rhythm like nobody's business. So they need to come up with the come on this week. This if you want to atone for all your mistakes in the past 8 games, come out soundly and kick the Cowboys right in the teeth.
Got you. All right. So this has been a hot contention topic. We
Hmm.
all know what happened with Kenny Gainwell and the whole
Oh
social
God.
media thing at halftime. I personally feel like the Eagles need to suspend him just to send a message. But right there, let's talk about the running back rotation. What I don't understand is Ryan wants to know how I feel about the running back rotation. Need to use Boston Scott more. My opinion is hell yes.
Yes.
Boston Scott has done nothing but
Yeah.
show this organization, this coaching staff that he can straight up play. And for
Exactly.
some reason or another, he can't get no more than 1 or 2 plays a game. I don't
Undrafted
understand
free
it. They
agent.
are just
Undrafted
trying to
free agent.
feature. They're trying to feature Gainwell, and he's not productive. And if he's
Yes.
not productive, the next guy should be able to step up and show that he can be productive.
Yeah. The funny thing you say about that is like when I heard about him. Doing the social media thing, I would have whooped his ass. I'm sorry. That's just point. You doing what at halftime? I was like, dude, you fumbled. You fumbled on the fire, going in. What the hell are you doing on? And you're right, but the suspension shouldn't be just that blatant. You know what the suspension should be? It should be the other. It should be Rashard Penny and Boston Scott active and him not active. That's why I think it should go. And for the next 2 games, let him sit back and because sometimes when the guys are drafted and they drafted at that high like he was, it's like it's gonna take. They think that they can't do no wrong, and right now it's just like they can't. It's like I don't. I agree he should be suspended, but I would have whooped him. I would have whooped him like cornbread batter. You doing what at halftime? It's like, yeah. I was like, dude, we got a game going. You fumbled already. That means your head's still not in the game. Man, it's like
unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. Go ahead.
So Tom wants to know, how do you feel? Do you feel the run to pass ratio should be? What do you think the run to pass ratio should be against Dallas if we bring do or don't dress running back Penny? So everybody wants to know about Rashard Penny. They really, there's a lot of people that can't understand why you went and made the move to bring Rashard Penny here, and all of a sudden, you haven't played him. He's had like 1 or 2 carries the entire year.
I think this is Penny's coming out party. I think they went. Personally, they better be waited to this game to bring him out to hit them with that 1-2-3 punch. And I feel like Gainwell should be down, especially with the answering people on social media at halftime. Dude, it would be no amounts of kicks in his ass that would be right, that would be wrong. I was like, everybody should. His parents should have came. I was like, dude, how do you answer somebody? And given and this is the other thing too, being in this in the social media realm, like right as we are, you should know about all the other examples that we've seen that everybody's going to find out, and it's not going to be good. I was like, at halftime, after you fumbled already, oh man. It's no amount of slap that should be enough to slap through sense into this kid. But I'm with you, but I feel like it should be one of those things to where, yeah, you're still with us. We're gonna make you practice stuff, but you're a healthy scratch for the next 2 games. I'm not gonna tell you, but that's what I'm gonna do.
Nick Sirianni said they had a talk with him.
I don't give a damn about no talk. And action speaks louder than words. I'm gonna talk with you. I'm gonna tell you I'm sitting your ass down. I was like, I was like, what the hell? How could? First of all, how come your head is not in the damn game? How come your head is not in the game? And second of all, you fumbled going in the red zone of all places, and then you go in there and you compound it by doing that. So I have to quit my my confidence in you. My trust in you is kind of going by the wayside right now. You have to build it back up, and the only way I can see him not being active for 2, possibly even 3 games.
Tank, you the best, man. I appreciate your time tonight, man.
No
Thanks
problem,
for
man.
joining me.
No problem.
All right, my man.
All right.
We'll talk soon. Damn Skip.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, folks, that's it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in to the Seth Joyner Show, brought to you by Bet Parks. We're going to wrap it right there. Get ready for this Cowboy Week. As you know, I'll be right back here next week, same place, same time. Hey, listen, you guys take care of each other and be good to each other, but most importantly, make sure that you love each other. Peace out.
Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain. At Mandrecchia Law, we win big personal injury cases, but we always tell our clients up front that those cases almost always hinge on how much insurance coverage people or companies have. At Mandrecchia Law, we don't sell insurance, but we're experts at helping our clients make sure they have the right insurance to protect their businesses and families. Do you have the right insurance? Most people don't. For a consultation, visit mmattorneys.com or call 610-584-0700. Mandrecchia Law, aggressive attorneys who get the job done.
This is Seth Joyner, top analyst for the Birds. I've also analyzed the best auto dealerships, and I drive a Davis Honda.
Fall into savings at Davis Honda. Over 300 cars available. And right now, get rates as low as 0.9% at Davis Honda in Burlington. Plus, you'll get 2 years of free oil changes on every new and used Davis Honda vehicle. See why Davis Honda continues to win outstanding awards for sales and service, including the highest award from Honda, the President's Award. Get to Davis Honda in Burlington.
Fall into savings at Davis Honda. JP Mascaro & Sons is a family-owned, locally operated
operated solid waste service company in business for over 60 years. You've seen the red trucks with the blue elephant that symbolizes strength and reliability. Mascaro is different than other national brands. Like the birds, Philadelphia is home. They'll take care of all your waste removal needs. They have it all: an experienced workforce, state-of-the-art equipment, a cutting-edge recycling center, and their own disposal facilities. Call 888-MASCARO or visit jpmascaro.com.